All right, welcome back. So today we are going to be reviewing the Pendlay Row. Now, this is one of my favorite row variations because it's really hard to cheat. You either do it or you don't. So I'll show you kind of the form of it, everything like that too. But again, there are a lot of different variations. So this is one of the ones that's really going to help to build your lats, your back strength. So first we're going to go ahead and start with the PVC pipe. So what I'm going to have Bree do, we'll get this guy out of the way a little bit, is he's going to start in a bent over position. Now I know that we did not exactly learn the Romanian deadlift, but it's going to be the same basic position as that. So you're going to kind of stick your butt in the air, you're going to lower your chest almost horizontal. Now when I say almost, if we go too horizontal, we kind of end up below, and then we usually get a little bit of a round back, so we want the head and shoulders to be up a little bit. But we do want to be pretty darn close to the ground, and that's because of the nature of the movement itself. So once we're here, we're going to set up that bar nice and close to our shins, just like we did for that conventional deadlift. And then we're going to go ahead and squeeze our shoulder blades together, pull the bar until it hits your sternum. Good. Now go ahead and stand up so they can see where that hits you. So we're thinking like low chest line, right? The main reason we don't want it to be too high up and then too low down is it starts to actually change your shoulder position. So we're going right for that sternum. That's something that we'll do in our bench press as well. Go ahead and bend over. So we're right in that sternum. We're going to extend the arms back down and relax the shoulder blades, but keep tension in that top body. Again, reserving it. Good, beautiful. Go ahead and do a couple where we're pulling that bar into you. Big shoulder blade squeeze, and then set it back down. This whole time the lower body is maintaining position. We're not moving at all. Keep that bar a little bit closer to you. Yep, perfect, right there. Put it right over the mid part of your foot. Nice. Keeping that bar as close to us as possible, right? So go ahead and relax. We're gonna grab the barbell next. So, like I said, this is one of my favorite versions because you did it or you didn't do it. With the Pendlay Row, what needs to happen is that you need to touch the ground with the bar every single time. So the bar is gonna touch your sternum, bar is gonna touch the floor. If it doesn't do both of those, you didn't do it. So let's go ahead and do a couple reps. Again, around the mid part of the foot, we're anti-shrugging with the shoulder. We're keeping tension out of that. Can you shrug your shoulders up to your ears again so they can see that? So you see how that kind of pushes the bar away from you? The armpits are not as tight. Now anti-shrug, pulling it down, armpits are tight, bar is nice and close. Pull it into your chest, big shoulder blade squeeze, and then press it back down, touch the ground. Nice. Now you'll notice his chest lift just a teeny bit. Go ahead and do it again. I'm gonna hold my hand right here, keep it in the same spot. There we go, breathe. Again, pulling up, and down. Good. Go ahead and relax. So one of the things that we're really concentrating on here is that we are trying to actually get his shoulder blades to be the main mover. So what I'm going to have him do is actually show you what scapular retraction or shoulder blade squeezing is going to look like. Let's go ahead and face toward me, arms out straight here. And what we're going to try and do is he's going to try to pinch a pencil behind his back. Go ahead and pull those shoulder blades in together and he's going to try and squish my hand, right? And then press them forward as far as you can. That's protraction, and we're gonna pull them back, shoulder blades squeeze, pinch a pencil behind your back, that's retraction. Again, keeping tension out of the shoulder blades as much as you can. Good, try to keep your arms straight as you do it. And pull, yeah, there you go, nice. That's what we're looking for, that should be our first initiator. And then you can pull the elbows. Go ahead and pull the elbows next as if you were doing a row. Good, and then we're pulling the elbows after that, right? So we're gonna have him face the back wall so you can see it again, same thing. We're trying to pull those shoulder blades together, squish them together nice and tight. Go ahead and press forward. And you'll see them actually moving right here. Go ahead, pull. Shoulder blades first, one more time. And this time we'll pull the elbows after. Shoulder blade squeeze first and pull the elbows as an extension of that. So that's the main movement. That's what we're trying to make sure that we're doing in all of these row variations and especially in this Pendlay Row. Beautiful. All right. Let's go ahead and do just one more so we can see that shoulder blade retraction one more time. Big shoulder blade squeeze, tight armpits if you can. There we go. Same basic idea, kind of bending the bar like we do. Go ahead and pull. Good, chest came up just a little bit. Keep it down, yep, there you go. And touch toward the ground. Good. Now pause for just a second. Something that you can do is if you start to feel your chest coming up a little bit, you can actually take your chest down toward the bar a little bit. So I know this sounds a little funny, but one of the things I like to say is like you're trying to fight the bar or you're trying to fight the floor, right? So if you're trying to pick a fight with somebody, you're trying to intimidate them, that's what you're going to do the floor. So now when he does his pull, as he's pulling up with his elbows, he's actually gonna push his chest down just a teeny bit too. And that's gonna make sure that we get that full range of motion. Go ahead. Big pull, shoulder blade squeeze, chest down. Nice, and down. Good, you can go a little faster. And then back down. Yep. And you don't have to pause at the top either. Go ahead. And down, nice. There we go, beautiful. So that's what we're looking for. Kind of a little bit of a chest jerk on the way down to make sure that we're keeping that chest in that nice spot. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna go through is some of the mistakes that people usually make when they are doing a row or a Pendlay row. So we're gonna go ahead and use the PVC pipe for this one, bent over position like we were before. So we mentioned this a little bit, but typically what happens is you're doing a couple of rows, you're doing them all nice, shoulder blade squeeze, all that stuff. Go ahead and do a couple. And then as you start to get tired, go ahead and keep going. Your chest starts to slowly creep up a little bit higher and higher and higher, and we're not quite able to touch the ground, right? That's a tendency to happen. So that's where we wanna make sure that Pendlay is really nice because you have to touch the ground, right? And that's when we're gonna use the fight the floor like we did earlier. So do a couple more, have your back creep up a little bit, and then let's use that fight the floor method. Right? Creeping up a little bit, and then we realize it, and so now we're gonna take the chest down into the bar instead. And that gets us right back into that position. So then the next mistake that a lot of people make, go ahead and stand up, is that they're using a whole lot of arms and not a lot of shoulder blades. So let's go ahead and do it again. If he were not to pinch his shoulder blades together before, like we were talking about before, technically you can still lift this, right? You can use all of your arm muscles and look, nothing. We made no movement here at all, right? This is all elbows, all of his arms. Go ahead and do a couple of those so they can see the difference. And it's just the lower body. Now that's gonna get pretty hard when it gets heavy. However, it is pretty easy to do at the beginning. So again, we wanna make sure that we're pulling shoulder blades first, finishing with those arms and having that be the whole movement all together so you get that nice big squeeze. Beautiful, go ahead and stand up. And then the very last one, and this is something that's a little bit weird to explain, but you can kind of see how it does it. So I'm gonna have you put your arms out in front of you again, like we did before. So go ahead and pull your shoulder blades back and row. Yep, and then go ahead and bend your arms again too. Now what happens is that people concentrate a little bit too much on their elbows. So they'll start to drive their elbows up like this. And what it does is it actually tilts your shoulder forward. So you can see how that actually rotated. So go ahead and extend your arms again. Do another one where we just drive the elbows. And we're thinking a little bit too much about the elbows and starts to drive those shoulders forward. As soon as we do that, we're negating a lot of that range of motion that we were doing before. So we wanna make sure instead of thinking about the shoulder or the elbows themselves, we're thinking about the shoulder blades. So now let's show it from a bent over position, like a row. So he's gonna do the same thing where he's concentrating a little too hard on his elbows. Go ahead and pull your elbows up. And then do you see how that shoulder is facing downward now? And everything's kind of pressing this direction. Do two more like that so they can see the wrong way. Elbows, right? And people think that the row should be a lot of elbows. Technically, that's not the main mover, right? Our main mover is our shoulder blades. So now we're gonna think more from the shoulder blades. Squeeze this. You'll notice his elbows don't go quite as high, and that is totally okay. So go ahead and do a couple of those. We're thinking more about the shoulder blades themselves because that's the muscle that we're moving, not the elbows. Beautiful, go ahead and relax. Cool, so we're gonna show a couple of modifications that you can do for this. Again, a lot of people aren't always comfortable with a bar, so one of the things that I start a lot of my clients with is actually a single arm bench row. Now the main reason that we do this is you're doing one arm at a time, so you only have to think about one. And then secondary, you get a little extra support, so you get to be able to practice isolating that movement so you can really feel that shoulder blade. So we only need one dumbbell for this. What Ray's gonna do, usually it'll be the long way on the bench, but we're a little reserved for space. So we're gonna put one knee and one hand on this bench. The other leg is just kind of hanging out. We're almost in like a quadruped position, like hands and knees, right? And then we're gonna put this weight in the secondary hand. So now all he has to do is concentrate on this shoulder blade. So go ahead and do a couple of rows, pull to about that sternum / hip height. Right there, nice big shoulder blade, keep this open. Yep, awesome, do a couple of those. Big shoulder blade squeeze, you should feel this here in the lat. And then again, we're not focusing too much on that elbow drive, we're trying to pull this guy up as much as possible. And then one thing that we can actually practice while we're here too, is see how his chest is facing you just a little bit? We actually wanna keep it close toward the ground, and this helps to engage your core as well. A couple more like that. Keep that core nice and closed. Yeah, there we go, that's the one. Last one. So this is a really great way to isolate and start to introduce it. Go ahead and hold on to that. Now if you move into the open space. Good. And then I'm gonna give you this one too. So then the last version that I have a lot of people transfer to after they do that single arm row is just gonna be bent over row with dumbbells. So now we're gonna get to that same bent over position that we were in for the Pendlay row. Same shoulder blade squeeze, but again, a little bit more forgiveness for the hands. See how he's already neutral? That's probably a little bit more comfortable for a lot of people when they're first starting. And then that way we have a little bit more forgiveness. We can put it nice and close to your shins. Don't have to worry too much about where your arms are. And then we can think more about that shoulder blade squeeze. So go ahead and squeeze, elbows tight. Yep, and we're not driving the elbows up. We're just doing the shoulder blades. A couple of those. Same basic idea, we just don't have to touch the ground, so it's not as much of a requirement. You may not have to be as low. And technically, if this hurts at all, for some people that maybe have shoulder injuries and stuff, you can actually lift your chest up just a little bit more. You don't get as much range of motion, but you still get the same basic activation, so that's totally fine too. Good, awesome. All right, that's it for our rows. Thanks so much.